They had imagined eating meals together like this, sharing stories around the dinner table. Now, it was as if that dream had come true. "Daddy," Isa said, tapping his shoulder. "Stay with us always, okay? It's more fun to eat when you're with us, and Mommy's food tastes even better when you're here." Angelo smiled slightly. "I'll try to stay for now," he answered gently. As the meal began, everyone started eating together. Angelo was quiet throughout while Claire busied herself tending to the kids' needs, but even as she moved around, she couldn't help but smile. Seeing how happy her children were to have their father home warmed her heart that night. As Angelo lay in the guest room, a strange feeling of peace came over him. In every corner of the house, he felt the warmth of love he hadn't known in years. From the children's room, he could hear Claire's soft voice telling them a bedtime story. After so long, he was finally feeling something he didn't think he ever would again. He glanced around the cold, dim room, but somehow it didn't feel as cold anymore. There was warmth inside him now, a kind of love he had denied himself for too long. The next morning, Angelo's personal assistant arrived early, carrying his belongings from the hotel where he had been staying. A large suitcase was brought into the house. "Sir, I brought everything you'll need," the assistant said, carefully placing the bags near the door. Angelo nodded in response and glanced at Claire, who was quietly observing. "Thanks. Just leave them there." "I'll take care of it," Angelo replied. After a short conversation, the assistant left. Claire decided to take a day off from work so she could accompany Angelo and the kids to the hospital. They had already discussed their plan. Once Claire finished the house chores, she got ready for the trip. When everyone was prepared, she grabbed her bag and made sure the kids were settled before heading out with Angelo. During the ride, a quiet tension lingered between them. Neither of them spoke. The kids, on the other hand, chatted cheerfully in the back seat. Eventually, Angelo broke the silence. "Are you sure you want to come along?" he asked. "Of course," Claire replied calmly. "I don't want to keep dragging this out. It's better if we get this over with." When they arrived at the hospital, they went straight to the lab for the DNA test. Angelo and the children silently underwent all the necessary procedures while Claire waited quietly in a corner. After a while, everything was done. As they left the hospital, it felt like a weight had been lifted off their shoulders. Though the results would take a few weeks to come out, there was already a sense of relief in the air. In the days that followed, Angelo asked the kids if he could be the one to take them to school. The triplets were thrilled. They proudly introduced him to their classmates. "So, it's true. You really do have a dad. You're not aliens," one girl teased. Angelo raised an eyebrow. "Of course," Javier said smugly. "We told you we had a dad. You just didn't want to believe us, but now he's back, and you can't bully us anymore." "Yeah," Isa chimed in. "From now on, you're not allowed to bully us, especially Silas. Our dad is super strict. If you mess with us, he'll scold you." "Don't call us freaks anymore," Silas said firmly. "You're the ones who look like freaks. Besides, we don't just have Mommy to protect us now. We have Daddy, too." "Oh, yeah," one of the kids sneered. "Well, your daddy won't stay. He'll leave again. My mom said your parents are divorced and your daddy doesn't even love you." Angelo saw the sadness in his child's eyes and stepped in. "I don't know why your parents are teaching you things like that," he said calmly but firmly. "Everything they told you is false, so please don't bully my kids. They only want to be your friends." The children fell silent. The teacher quickly stepped in to apologize, but Angelo firmly said he wanted to speak with the parents of the children who had bullied his kids. Afterward, he said goodbye to the triplets and promised to pick them up after school. He also asked their nanny about the bullying and found out it had been going on for a while. Even though Claire had already filed complaints against the parents of those children, later that day, just as he promised, Angelo returned to pick up the kids. When the parents of the bullies found out he was back, it was as if they had lost their nerve. They were the first to approach him and apologize. But Angelo gave them a firm warning. If he ever found out that his kids were being bullied again, he wouldn't hesitate to file a case that could ruin them all. The parents swore they would talk to their children and make sure the bullying never happened again. The triplets were deeply grateful to Angelo for standing up for them. Over the next 4 days, Angelo saw just how much Claire loved their children. She was incredibly attentive and caring, whether the kids were with their nanny or not, whether she was exhausted from work or not. Despite how cold or indifferent Angelo often acted toward her, she still treated him the same way she always had, like they were still a married couple. "Daddy, before we sleep, can we hug you again?" Silas asked on the 6th night. His 2 siblings stared silently at Angelo, waiting for his response. He didn't hesitate. He bent down, and the 3 kids rushed to embrace him tightly. Angelo felt the warmth of their little arms around him, calming something inside him. "Good night, Daddy." "We're so happy you're here," Isa whispered as she clung to him. Angelo smiled. "Good night," he whispered back. What he didn't know was that Claire had passed by and seen the scene. She couldn't help but smile. Her heart was full knowing Angelo had accepted the children and was treating them well. She thought to herself, when the time comes and her body can no longer fight her illness, she won't have to worry. She was confident that the triplets would be safe in their father's care. One night, Claire told the children she'd be home late because she had to work overtime. Though Angelo knew she didn't need to, he found himself waiting for her return anyway. And that night, he couldn't explain why seeing her car arrive filled him with such emotion. He even saw her smiling and waving at the male driver. "Who dropped you off? Your boyfriend?" Angelo asked seriously as soon as Claire stepped inside. She was startled. "Huh? That's my boss," she answered, confused. "Really? What kind of boss is that generous? Drives you all the way home," Angelo said, raising a brow. "He's a good man. He felt bad that I had to work overtime, so he offered to drive me home. I didn't get the chance to bond with the kids after work, so he gave me a lift." "And you didn't say no?" "Why would I? He's my boss, and it's hard to catch a ride at this hour." "I was actually thankful he offered." "Oh," Angelo muttered, clearly unhappy. "That's not even the first time he's driven me," Claire added as she headed upstairs. Angelo stayed downstairs, jaw clenched, unsure why he felt so angry. The next morning, Claire left early for work again. Angelo stayed at the mansion with the triplets, still bothered by what happened the night before. He called the kids' nanny to ask her about Claire. "How is Claire as a mother?" he asked seriously. The nanny was surprised by the question, but she smiled with admiration. "Oh, sir, Miss Claire is the best. She's an amazing mother. She can do everything just to make sure the kids have a good life. Even when she's sick, she keeps working. She barely rests. And when I'm off, she personally takes care of them. She's the most hard-working mother I've ever seen." Angelo was stunned. His earlier suspicions were slowly being replaced with something else. "When she's not feeling well, she hides it so the kids don't worry," the nanny continued. "And when I'm not around, she's the one who feeds them, cleans up after them, everything. I've never seen her complain. She's always smiling when the kids come home from school and asks how their day went. She never thinks of herself," the nanny added, "only about their happiness and future. Even when she's tired or overwhelmed, she never lets it show." Angelo felt something shift in his chest. "She always attends all their school events," the nanny went on. "She doesn't miss anything because she said she knows what it feels like to be left out. She wasn't the favorite in her family growing up, so she wants her kids to always feel loved and supported. If the kids are teased or bullied, she's the first one at school to confront the teachers or the parents if she has to. She fights for them, sir. She's the kind of mother every child would be lucky to have." Angelo didn't know what to say. Every word cut deeper into his guilt. He realized just how little he had known about what Claire had been through. "She's always at the front row," the nanny continued, clapping and cheering, always making sure the kids feel like she's proud of them. Angelo noticed the light in the nanny's eyes as she spoke. When other kids say mean things to the triplets, she doesn't hesitate to defend them. She goes straight to the school to face whoever needs to be talked to. For her, nothing is more important than her children. The nanny paused, then added, "To me, Miss Claire is the best mother anyone could ask for." Angelo was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Has she ever dated anyone while I was gone? Brought any man to this house?" The nanny shook her head. "I've been working here for over a year, sir, and during my time, I've never seen any man visit her. She's either busy with work or focused on the children. I really don't believe she's ever cheated on you." Angelo nodded slowly. He remembered how Claire's mother had told him otherwise, that Claire had been bringing men into the house. But now the nanny who lived with her was saying the complete opposite. Who was telling the truth? Not even one man, he asked. No visitors at all. Well, there are a few people who drop by. There's Sir Maxwell, the kid's godfather and her best friend. They call him Uncle Max, and her boss has driven her home a few times when she's sick or working late. You're sure neither of them is her boyfriend? Yes, sir. I'm sure. I'd bet my life on it. The nanny grew more serious. May I ask something, sir? Are you asking all this because of what other people have said about Miss Claire? Angelo hesitated. If I were you, I wouldn't believe those people, she said. They're just jealous of Miss Claire. She's not only beautiful and kind, she's hardworking, too. Everyone likes her. People who envy her spread lies. Even her own family, the nanny added. They say terrible things about her, especially her mother. She acts like an angel, but she's filled with envy toward her own daughter. Angelo frowned. What do you mean? The nanny shook her head. Miss Claire's siblings and even her mother, they've treated her terribly. Didn't she ever tell you what they've done to her? Just a month ago, they stormed the house and caused a scene. I think they're jealous that Miss Claire is still successful despite everything. They've always wanted her to fail, the nanny continued. But no matter what life throws at her, Miss Claire keeps going. She's strong, and her boss is kind to her, too. That only made her family more bitter. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if they were the ones spreading rumors about her seeing other men. They're just jealous, sir. And Miss Claire, she never fights back. She always chooses to stay kind, but if she ever did retaliate, they'd be the ones left in ruins. Angelo didn't say a word, just stood there processing everything he had just heard. Her own family is proof that not everyone who shares your blood will be on your side, the nanny added. That's why I admire her so much. She handles all of it and still remains good. For the first time since coming back, Angelo started to see Claire, not just as the woman who once hurt him, but as a mother who had done everything for their children. Later that day, the triplets were happily playing in the living room while Angelo relaxed in his chair. Suddenly, Yumi appeared at the mansion. She walked straight toward him, confidence in her stride, and began caressing his arm. I missed you. Why aren't you answering my calls? Yumi said sweetly, leaning closer to his face. The triplets were shocked to see the scene and rushed over to their father. What are you doing to our daddy? One of them asked, grabbing Angelo's arm to pull it away from Yumi. Yumi turned to the kids with a mocking smile. Why, is it forbidden? She asked sarcastically. If Mommy finds out, she won't be happy, Javier said angrily. Do you know that I'm the one your daddy loves, not your mommy? Yumi declared confidently. The kids stared at Angelo, eyes filled with confusion and pain. Daddy, is what she's saying true? Isa asked, trying to hold back her tears. No, Angelo said firmly. She's lying. She's just a friend. You're a liar, Isa snapped at Yumi. You're already ugly, and now you're a liar, too. Yumi was stunned by the little girl's words. Our mommy said people who lie are bad, Isla added. So don't lie. You're already mean. Your attitude makes you look worse. Yumi's mouth hung open, shocked. She looked at Angelo, about to complain, but he beat her to it. Don't you ever say anything like that in front of my children again, he said sternly. I don't want them hearing lies. Yumi laughed bitterly. How can you be so sure they're your kids? Maybe Claire just passed them off as yours because their real father didn't want them. Before she could finish, Angelo grabbed her arm and pulled her away from the kids. He couldn't believe the hurtful words she had just said. It was the first time he had ever spoken so harshly to Yumi, and it made her tear up. Finally, the day Angelo had been dreading arrived. The DNA test results came in. His heart was pounding as he held the envelope. The kids were outside playing with the nanny while he and Claire sat inside the house quietly waiting. Angelo slowly opened the envelope, pulled out the papers, and read. Silence. He looked at Claire, eyes filled with disbelief and astonishment. They're mine, he whispered. Claire nodded softly. Yes, you are their father. Relief, regret, and awe swept over Angelo. As he looked out the window at the children, all the pieces of his broken past began fitting back together, starting to make sense. Angelo remained silent for a long time, staring at the triplets who were still happily playing outside. He tried to piece together the truth he had just read and the life he had missed. They're mine, he said again, this time more to himself, as if trying to make the reality settle in his mind. Claire nodded again, her voice low and steady. You've always been their father. It was a revelation that lightened something in Angelo's chest, yet weighed heavily on his shoulders at the same time. Regret, longing, and sorrow swirled inside him. That evening, Angelo quietly walked down from the second floor of the house. In the living room, he found Claire sitting alone, deep in thought. He approached slowly. Claire, he said, his voice cold but composed. Claire looked up, her face unreadable. I'm taking the kids with me back to the US, he said. We're not together anymore, and I can provide them with a better life there. Claire was caught off guard by the heaviness of his words. Though she had tried to prepare herself for a moment like this, the pain still came, sharp and raw. Her heart clenched, and tears welled in her eyes. But she held her head high, not wanting to let him see her break. I understand, she whispered, trying not to let her voice tremble. If that's what you think is best for them, then I won't stand in your way. Their eyes met briefly. In truth, this had always been Claire's plan. She knew the children would have a better life with their father, especially now that her condition was worsening. She knew she couldn't care for them the way she wanted to anymore. When the triplets found out that their dad was taking them to the US without their mother, they were inconsolable. They sobbed and clung to her. Mommy, why aren't you coming with us? Isa asked between sobs. We don't want to leave you, the three cried out together, surrounding Claire, hugging her tightly, their little arms trembling with fear and heartbreak. Daddy, why are you doing this? Javier shouted. Why are you taking us away from Mommy? I don't want to go to America if Mommy's not coming. Silas cried. You said we'd be together, but now you're taking us away from her. I don't want to go with you. You're mean, Daddy, Isa said, her voice trembling. You should have just stayed away if you were going to do this to us. We don't need you. We want Mommy. Angelo felt each word cut into him. But he didn't speak. Not yet. Claire knelt in front of her children, tears streaming down her face. She tried to soothe them, explaining that they'd be better off with their father, that he could give them things she couldn't, even if it broke her heart. Though the children didn't want to go, there was no stopping what had already been decided. Angelo also decided not to sell the house after all. He would leave it to Claire. Yumi, of course, wasn't pleased with his decisions, but he coldly told her that what he did was none of her business. The next day, their flight to the US was scheduled. Claire didn't go with them to the airport. Angelo knew it would only hurt her more to watch the children leave. At the airport, the kids cried even harder as they neared the boarding gate. They begged and pleaded, Daddy, please. I don't want to go to the US without Mommy, Isla sobbed, clinging to his hand. Can't we stay here? Angelo tried to stay strong, tried to keep his heart from wavering, but it was no use. As they walked, a familiar voice suddenly called out from behind them. It was Maximilian, Claire's best friend. He rushed toward them, worry etched on his face as he saw the crying children. Angelo, he said in a cool tone as he approached. Tito, Silas cried, reaching for Maximilian. We don't want to go to the US. Please don't let Daddy take us. Maximilian's forehead creased with concern. You're really taking them? Angelo nodded. Yeah. Maximilian sighed deeply and knelt beside the triplets. I'm sorry, kids. There's nothing I can do. This was your mommy's plan. She knew this would give you a better future, especially now that she's sick and can't take care of you like she used to. Sick? Angelo asked, confused. He turned to Maximilian with narrowed eyes. What do you mean? Maximilian faced him. Didn't you know? Claire's been trying her best to stay strong for the kids, but the truth is her condition is getting worse. The triplets looked up, shocked and confused. Tito Max, what do you mean? Javier asked, tears still on his cheeks. Maximilian drew a deep breath. Your mommy has a serious illness. She has cancer. She's been hiding it from you so you wouldn't worry. But the truth is, she's been getting weaker and needs proper treatment and rest. We didn't know, Silas whispered, his voice trembling. Angelo stood frozen, his mind raced. He remembered the night he saw Claire taking medicine, thinking it was just for a headache. Now it made sense. Maximilian looked at him again. Angelo, for these kids, Claire is their world. If you're truly thinking about their well-being, ask yourself if separating them from their mother, especially now, is the right thing to do. We can't leave mommy now, Javier shouted. She needs us. If we go, she'll get even weaker. Yeah, Daddy, Isa said, holding Angelo's hand. Mommy needs to be strong. She needs us to help her fight. Please, Daddy, Silas begged. Let's go back to her. Don't leave her alone. Angelo swallowed hard. He looked at his children, eyes filled with sorrow and hope, and knew in his heart what he had to do. He sighed deeply and nodded. We're going home. We're not leaving your mommy. What do you mean? Yumi, who had followed them, asked angrily. Angelo turned to face her. I can't leave Claire behind. She's the mother of my children. I won't abandon her. Don't you remember what she did to you before? Yumi snapped. You're falling for her again. If I say yes, would that be a problem? Angelo replied coldly. You're just my friend, Yumi. Nothing more. I never promised you anything. Yumi's eyes widened in disbelief. You're choosing her again after everything. Angelo didn't flinch. I'm going back with my children. You're not part of this. Yumi was speechless as Angelo and the kids walked away. They returned home to find Claire crying softly as the nanny tried to comfort her. When she heard the children's voices, she looked up. The triplets ran to her. Mommy, we're not leaving, Javier shouted joyfully. Daddy said we'll stay. Yes, Mommy, Silas added. We're staying here to take care of you. Claire looked at Angelo, her eyes wide with disbelief. What does this mean, Angelo? She asked softly. Angelo stepped forward. It means we're not going anywhere. The kids will stay. I'll stay. We'll take care of you. Tears filled Claire's eyes. Thank you, Angelo. He looked at her gently. Get well, Claire. I'll take care of everything you need. True to his word, Angelo accompanied Claire to her doctor appointments and treatments. On weekends when she didn't have work, he was always there helping her manage the exhaustion and discomfort from the medications. During one of her sessions, the children sat by her side, offering hugs, smiles, and stories that brightened her mood. Angelo never left her side, and when she was too weak to stand, he held her hand. One afternoon in a quiet cafe near the hospital, Maximilian and Angelo met. The atmosphere was plain, but the weight between them was undeniable, filled with truths yet to be spoken. Angelo looked visibly shaken while Maximilian sat across from him with a serious expression as if waiting for the right moment to speak. Eventually, Maximilian broke the silence. Angelo, he began carefully, locking eyes with him. You need to know the truth about Claire. Angelo's brow furrowed. What do you mean? Maximilian took a deep breath. The things you were told before. They weren't true. Angelo's voice dropped. What are you talking about? I saw the pictures. I saw everything. Maximilian nodded solemnly. 3 years ago, we discovered the truth. The photos your mother-in-law showed you, the ones that made you leave Claire, they were staged. It was all a setup. Angelo's face paled, his eyes widening in disbelief. A setup? Why would she do that? Why would her own mother? Maximilian's voice lowered, heavy with frustration. Claire never had a good relationship with her mother or her siblings. There's been jealousy for years over her success, her strength, even your love for her. Angelo was stunned. He gripped the edge of the table tightly, his chest tightening. It was all a plan, Maximilian continued. Her mother paid people to fake those photos. She manipulated the narrative so you'd believe Claire was unfaithful. Angelo's mind raced. The betrayal he had felt, the years of anger, the silence between him and Claire, all based on lies. Why are you only telling me this now? He asked. Maximilian sighed again. When Claire found out the truth, she tried to find you, but you had already disappeared. We didn't know where you went. Angelo stared off in the distance, memories rushing back of their wedding, their home, the day he left her without a word. Everything he thought he knew had been a lie. She never wanted to hurt you, Maximilian added. All she ever wanted was to build a family with you. Even after everything, she still hoped you'd come back. Angelo looked down, his eyes stinging. She never stopped loving you, Maximilian said gently. And I think deep down, you never stopped either. Angelo remained quiet, his hands clenched as the truth sank in. Every painful memory from their separation now bore the weight of deception. The years he spent hating Claire were years stolen by a lie. I tried to erase her from my heart, Angelo whispered, voice shaking. But now I see. I was wrong. Maximilian nodded slowly. Claire never stopped trying to find you. She wanted to explain everything, to fix what was broken, but you were gone. Angelo stared blankly, his chest rising and falling in uneven breaths. The regret felt like a tidal wave crashing down on him. From the happy days of their marriage to the betrayal he believed to be real, to the birth of the children he didn't know about, he now understood how much had been lost. She never even defended herself, he murmured. She let me believe it all. She thought you wouldn't believe her, Maximilian said. She was afraid that even if she told you the truth, it wouldn't matter. And now, Angelo asked, after all of this, what should I do? Maximilian leaned forward. Do what's right. You still have a chance to make things right with Claire. She's still here. The kids are here. You can start again. Later, Angelo fulfilled the promise he had made to Claire. He took full responsibility for her treatment, ensuring she got the best care available. Every session, every checkup, he was there. The kids never left her side either. Whenever she felt weak, they would curl up beside her and tell her how much they loved her. Their laughter was her strength. As the days passed, Angelo distanced himself from Yumi for good. Once he realized her intentions and how much damage she had caused, he ended all contact with her. She had been part of the whispering voices that once poisoned his heart. With Maximilian's help, Angelo even confronted Claire's family, her mother, and siblings. They thought he had returned to be manipulated again. Instead, he brought legal threats. If you ever come near Claire or the children again, Angelo said coldly, I will not hesitate to file charges. You already ruined our lives once with your lies. I won't let it happen again. Her mother tried to argue, but Angelo cut her off. Claire may have respected you, but I don't. If you hurt my family again, I'll destroy your reputation. Stay away. That confrontation marked the end of their interference. Back at home, Angelo focused on rebuilding what had been broken. He started with small things, helping Claire with the children's meals, sitting beside her during treatments, holding her hand when she felt scared. One night, Claire looked up at him and asked, Why are you doing all of this? Because I love you, Angelo said quietly. I still love you, Claire, and I'm willing to do everything just to make you love me again. I want us to be a family. I never hated you, Claire said softly. Even after everything, I understood. I forgave you a long time ago. Angelo took her hand gently. Then let me make it up to you. Let me fix what I broke. She smiled through her tears. You already are. And in that quiet moment, their hearts found each other again. Still bruised, still healing, but finally choosing love. Don't miss the next incredible story on Dark Voices, where we dive into the raw emotions and untold truths that change lives forever. Subscribe now to stay connected.